6 straight. The trade deadline's a week away. Chiney, is it a mistake for them to ignore trade offers for James Harden?
I don't think it is. And when you look at this situation that the Nets are in, a lot of people are going to be like, okay, they've lost a lot of games consistently the last few weeks. Also, you look at, okay, what did he do last night versus the Kings?
Yeah.
4 points. A lot of people will say, oh, maybe there's some validity to making sure you have, a trade asset available if James Harden is, the one that you want to move. But have you ever really thought, if we put things into perspective, that maybe all these conversations, the deadline, impending, is maybe causing a little bit of this rift that you can see on the court? I think the biggest perspective that we have to really bring together when it comes to the Brooklyn Nets is that this decision, to have a big three with KD, Kyrie, and James was a player's choice. They all wanted to play with each other, so much so that James Harden risked it all, per se, left Houston to join this crew. Now, the unfortunate part, and I think a lot of people need to understand this, is that James Harden, no matter what his numbers might be right now, has been the glue for the Brooklyn Nets. He's played 80 games, about 20 or so more than Kyrie and KD. He's the person that's going to give you your best chance to maintain your status in the East right now. For a large portion of the season, without those two or with one or the other, he's been able to keep them in the top 4. Right now, this is probably the worst of it. I see why people are like, oh, you might want to explore, but, myself as a player, that idea that your team is thinking about, trading you, that could cause this experiment that you really put all your chips in the middle of the table to implode when right now you really want to win a championship. That's where the Nets are.
Let me say this to you. It is a mistake for the Nets to ignore Harden's, trade rumors and, not taking phone calls. It's a mistake. You listen. You always listen. You have to. That's number one. But before I get into my point about James Harden, let me say this. I'm not really worried about the Brooklyn Nets. First of all, they don't have KD, who I believe, when healthy, is the greatest in the world. Yeah. He's a professional buckets maker. This brother is something special. Ain't concerned about them with him at all, okay? Milwaukee wouldn't be there if he wore size 12 instead of bigger size. They wouldn't even be in the championship, okay? They wouldn't be the champions, all right? That's number one. Number two, Kyrie, and it's really, really nice to see him conducting himself with class as he talks to the media. They're not peons. They're actually human beings that are asking questions that are worthy of being answered. Proud of him for doing that. This brother's a showstopper, and he reminded us of that against Golden State the other night when there was no Harden or KD, and he put on that show. Kyrie is something special. He's box office. I just don't trust him long term, so I'd pay him 1 year to 1 year, but I'd give him, he can make as much money as he wants 1 year to 1 year. As long as he's going to play, he deserves to pay because he's that special. I got to take a moment to give props to the rest of the Brooklyn Nets. Patty Mills, I think, has been sensational this year. Blake Griffin, suddenly he can dunk again now that he's no longer in Detroit.
Goodness.
He can dunk again now that he's no longer in Detroit. And he's been doing
But they did say he's out of the rotation.
That's
that
okay.
was a lot. Yeah.
But that's okay. I'm just talking about what I'm seeing from the young cats, the Claxons, the Cam Thomases of the world, the Bruce Browns of the world. I'm looking at these cats and their activity with the stars. They're complementary pieces that I think can give you some energy, and I like what I'm seeing. Let me get to Harden. Harden is averaging 22, 10, and 8. And he's having a bad year. Shooting 41% from the field, like 33% from three-point range. He's not Harden. I'd listen because there are questions as to whether or not he is what he used to be. Hamstring injury, weight issues, coming into camp out of shape, for initially because he wanted to get out of Houston. And then this year, after last year with the hamstring injury and all of this other stuff. I think this is just me personally, my experience. Y'all are just going to have to listen to me on this one.
Okay.
There's something to say about being happy. When you're someplace you want to be.
Absolutely.
He wanted to be in Houston when he was in Houston because he was with Daryl Morey and he was treated like royalty. You ain't the man in Brooklyn. That would be KD.
But James Harden hasn't said anything to the like that he's not happy.
I understand that. I understand it. I know that. But you also know, we know a lot of things that don't get said, Shanae. You know that. Okay.
But don't you think he'd be happy if they were winning?
No. They listen. They've lost 6 straight, and they're still 29 and 22.
And also,
and by the way, before Kevin Durant goes down, before he went down,
these are reports that they are not taking calls. Not like they're not planning for contingencies.
I'm not saying he's like God miserable or anything like that. I'm just saying there's a difference between going to work every day and being ecstatic about it. Yeah. And what I'm saying to you is that if Harden potentially could find, because I don't think he's finished by a long shot. He's a superstar, and I think he will show it when it's time. But there's something to be said.
I have a question
about
for you,
preferring
Stephen.
to be elsewhere.
What would make James Harden happy right now?
Well, at this particular moment, nothing.
Oh, come on.
Hold on.
No.
At this particular
Kevin
moment.
Durant
being healthy.
Full-time Kyrie, all that
100%.
stuff.
No. I'm talking about Harden's game himself. We all know that KD coming back.
You
I'm
want
talking about
him to be the man, like he was in Houston.
I'm saying with KD out, you kind of need to be.
Yeah.
With Kyrie only playing road games, you kind of need to be. What I'm saying to you is when we talk about Harden's future, if Harden is contemplating anything, that would be the reason why. Because being a complimentary piece, how could it get any better than playing with KD?
But I think it's Harden's prerogative, right?
Sure.
Because this was all the players' design, right?
Okay, yeah.
And it's not necessarily the Nets. I know that as a front office, you have to plan for these circumstances. But right now, if I'm the front office and I'm saying he's the one that's most likely available for games, we're slipping in the standings, and you're not guaranteed the opportunity to get a superstar back if you trade. The deadline is next Thursday.
You know I'm not saying trade him. I'm saying listen because you don't know what potential
But if
offers will come
listening
down
can
the
make
pipe.
you unhappy so much that it forces a trade where you're not
Harden with Harkless watching him. Double, pocket pass. Claxton, nice spin and finish. Johnson working on the rookie. 13-year veteran versus now it's rookie on rookie. Thomas with the pull-up. Knocks it down. 12 seconds to work with on the shot clock. Brown inside. Positive sign. Floater falls for Bruce Brown. You see the distinct advantage for the Nets in the paint. Sacramento, usually good in that category. As Harrison Barnes, right on cue, gets the finish. Coming off a tough East Coast road trip.
Yeah, and I think some of it, again, talk to some folks from Sacramento, watching this team all the time. The Kings have been making a concerted effort to get downhill.
Claxton! And he's getting ready to draw a charge.
Draw charge. That's when it happens. He's still.
No, it's still out.
Is it still out? Yeah. Wait.
Davion Mitchell hits the mid. Sacramento looking to cut in this lead once again. Barnes, the step back on Johnson, hits the three. 4 seconds. Hill's going to have to put this one up. Layup. Oh. Two desperate teams to snap losing skids as Harden can't connect. He's 1 for 7 tonight, 2 points. He does have 9 assists. As Halliburton off the window. Nets need to muster up some energy, not only on the effort side, but in the concentration. A turnover from Harden. Buddy Hield lining up the three and connects. The road ahead period will be tough, and they're trying to stay positive. They're trying to keep the morale up. But this will be the 6th straight loss for Brooklyn. Again, the longest of the Steve Nash era.